Hey, hey, Virgo. Thanks for joining me for your November reading. If we haven't met before, I'm Madeline, and if you're back, hi. Woof. So Spirit gave me a really interesting channeled image this month for you, Virgo. I spent some time meditating, tuning in before I get on camera, and pick up anything channeled before we even look at your cards. And Spirit just basically really showed me, it was kind of awesome. It was like, if only I could draw, Virgo. Looked a little bit like Fantasia, where it was this beautiful sort of animation of clay coming up and coming together and morphing. You know, the way that it looks when someone is throwing a pot and they can kind of just, the tiniest alteration of the way that they maybe fan out their fingers can flute and create these amazing shapes, and then they can just as easily go down and then be like, no, never mind, I think I actually want something a little more like this, and alter the shape. And Spirit was like, mutable earth. This is Virgo. This is always your strength, but it is something that you really want to particularly lean into this month. And then they made me think of the fact that it is Mercury retrograde, and that retrograde is happening in your third house. So, you know, the one that's most primarily sort of associated with Mercury retrograde. Gadgets, communication, so hitting reply all on something that we definitely didn't want to, or sending the text to the person that we're like, oh my god, no, why? So there's this benefit to questioning how you go about some of those little routine things and maybe altering them slightly, and being willing to make some adjustments, as you are, again, very gifted at doing, to fit certain situations. That's not about abandoning what you really feel, because we don't abandon the essence of this clay when we change its shape. We just change its shape. We just make it into something that fits this situation. Do I need a container to hold this, or do maybe I need a plate? You know, what do I want and what do I want to be? You're very able to do that this month. So I don't know, I kind of feel like there's maybe some like fiery elements in your reading too, because it's like they're showing me like firing a kiln. There's a lot that you can get done this month by being willing to flow and lean into that mutable, changeable quality that you have, which is very special for an earth sign, because earth tends to be stuck, right? So that ability to be clay, serving you, all right? And you are serving, Virgo. Now, let's jump into your cards and see how they play with this message. Wow. All right. There you go. Wow. I kind of knew it. I kind of knew you were going to come up as this month, Virgo. Fiery elements. We're throwing something in the kiln. Okay. Love that. Wow. Cheese, Virgo. Cheese. Okay. Yup. It is time to seize your power, to make some gentle changes that bring you back into alignment. You have been thrown. This is not something that you have to be worried about, Virgo, like something you have to be like, uh-oh, this is incoming. No. This is showing up as what's inside, the sort of unconscious or hidden influences, the internal that manifests as the card above that manifests as the external. So even though you've been thrown, sorry, Spirit is funny. And Spirit said, yeah, you've been thrown, but only so that you can get onto your throne. Thrown onto your throne. Ugh, I know. I know, Virgo, but hey, ain't it a good thing? Ain't it a good thing? The tower only falls apart when it's false. Nothing that is on a strong foundation can have a tower moment. Now, there are some organic tower moments in our life that are unavoidable, right? Like death. And we do have that card sitting in the external, okay? So I'm not trying to throw this around and freak anybody out. The death card is not necessarily about physical death, but it is closed. Like, end. There's no turning back, right? Like, we're past that point. And I kind of feel like for some of you, you're left kind of dealing with the aftermath of maybe somebody telling you, you know what, this is over, or you know what, like, I don't want to talk to you about it, or something. I feel like someone is kind of cutting you off a little bit. Page of Swords situation, a little bit of immaturity there, a little bit of somebody got their ego hurt, and I don't feel like it was you. Maybe you said or did something last month that hurt this person's ego, and then they lashed out and they cut something off, or they said something that made it feel like, wow, like Spirit said, point of no return. Like, I don't know how to pretend that didn't happen. I don't know how to sweep this particular elephant under a rug. I don't see it happening. It's time to empower yourself. You have some choices to make. So, whew, gosh, okay. Let me just say this, Virgo. It looks good, but it does require what you're really good at, which is taking a rigorous inventory and then being willing to make the changes. Clay. This shape isn't working for me anymore. I'm done carrying other people's stuff, so I'm done being the shape of a vessel. Now I want to be the shape of an arrow. Now I want to be the shape of whatever. It's time to sculpt yourself. It's time to make a new choice. You have a lot in front of you, okay? So the good thing about this, Virgo, is they're telling me you have a lot of strengths, you have a lot of gifts, you have a lot of talents, you have a lot of, for some of you, it's like straight up privilege. Like you have a lot of privileges. Right? Makes sense. Mercury retrograde. You have a lot of privileges, and it's like, what do I want to choose? What do I want to have? Do I want to go after this? Do I want to focus on that? It's like, and Spirit is saying that can be as simple as like, do I want to focus on shaving down my 5K time? Do I want to focus on finishing that book that I've been thinking about, or getting back into that, the drawing that I used to do? Like, which gifts in particular, which skills in particular, which dreams in particular do I want to build? I'm going to remind you of that quote by Thoreau, and I'll paraphrase because I don't want to butcher it. It basically says, it's fine that you've built your castles in the sky. Now, though, it's time to put the foundations under them. In other words, you don't need to alter your dreams, but you may need to alter yourself and your vessel in order to craft and reach those dreams. So what do you dream of, Virgo? What do you want? And when I said that the good part of this is that there's lots of things available. The tough thing, and again, invoking one of your best gifts, is separating the wheat from the chaff. Because this can look pretty awesome, like, ooh, which one do I want? You know, like the querent here, looking at all these options, and there's victory, and there's treasure, and there's vanity, and there's property, and there's knowledge, and there's all these different things, but they're not all what they seem. And there's a dragon in one of these cups, and maybe that castle is made out of sand. If I could get a little closer to it and I stopped dreaming about it and actually put my hands on it, I might be like, this crumbles away, I don't even want this. And that, though, I will say, is a powerful thing too. Sometimes we think we want something, we get it, and it turns to sand. Nope, didn't even want it. It's not that it's not real necessarily, it's that it's not satisfying. Ultimately, it falls flat, which is one of the warnings of the Seven of Cups, is it's unique in the tarot in that there's this depiction of the querent. They're inside the card looking at this, and it's like, yeah, 2D. Think carefully about what actually nourishes and serves you, and then make a choice. Make a choice from a place of strength. You have that tower going on inside. That means you're shedding a skin, Virgo. The tower can be very uncomfortable. You have the moon in your past. You've been going through a deep transition, a deep self-exploration, a deep sense of transformation. The moon, death, the tower. Everything is not what it seemed, and more and more and more the truth is being revealed, and that can be hard. Go easy on yourself, be kind to yourself, and if this person, this Page of Swords, is one of a few messengers in your life of just kind of coming down and like just cutting something off or cutting something down and making you feel like, whoa, I thought everything was fine, but I guess you're cutting me off now. Like, if you get that kind of action this month, take it as more and more and more of the world offering you your power back. You didn't want to be handing that much power and that much influence to this person anyway, especially when you're coming in as a queen and they're coming in as a page. We're not denigrating anybody. We're not making fun or saying we're above them. But you kind of have to go through being a page and a knight to get to queen status. And you can identify whichever way on the gender spectrum. Being a queen of wands is about being warm and naturally charismatic, doing what you're great at because that brings out your natural brightness. Your natural brightness is extremely important this month. The sun is showing up in the position of what is possible, what you can have, what can come out of that tower and that death card. The truth, the energizing, beautiful truth, a realization, recognition of all of your talents and how to use them. Not just, wow, I have all these cool things I could have and do, but like, oh, this is how I'm gonna fucking do them though. This is the schedule I'm making for myself. This is the routine I'm building for myself. These are the habits that support me in my Queen of Wands empire. What is your kingdom? Is it art? What is your gift? What is your specialty? Spiritualism? The Queen of Wands is somebody who, in some form or fashion, activates others. And that's what they're saying about you, Virgo. And that can come through any way. You don't have to be some kind of guru to be a Queen of Wands. You could be a Queen of Wands who is quietly working at home and like never even leaves the house, but they're putting some bomb shit on Instagram. That could be a Queen of Wands. Natural leader. People gravitate toward her like they would on a cold day outside where there's a fire. It's natural. Shine your light. Maybe the tower is busting down because you built some wall. Wow, sorry, spirit just came in so hard. Maybe you're knocking down some walls, and maybe this Page of Swords person is also helping you, even though it sucks, knock down some of the walls around your authenticity and your light. A lot of us have built up some ramparts because we got a message at an earlier age that being this kind of powerful, this kind of self-loving and self-knowing, that's important. Like, what am I good at? What do I care about? What do I want? Especially in our childhood, and they're just bringing this in strong, okay, Virgo? So some of you really need to hear this. Like, some of us are beaten into submission, not necessarily literally, although sometimes, from being ourselves and embracing our unique talents. That can happen at school, that can happen in church, that can happen just in our own home, that our natural exuberance or our natural gifts are sort of suppressed or rejected. Well, you're about the fuck done with that. You're ready to see what's behind those walls you built up. And I'm going to tell you something that might sound a little weird, Virgo, but this is what Spirit wants you to know, is like, if anything, you should acknowledge how powerful you are, that you could build those kind of walls. The easier to let them fall away when you can be like, you know what, damn, like, those served me for a little while. In some way, those served me. Those protected me from getting further demolished by my classmates or by my family or society, church. They're saying all these different things, okay, Virgo? Structure is important to you, but it's important, valuable, fucking essential this month that you're like, what kind of fucking structure do I want to have? Do I want to live in? You have the Emperor in the position of where you find yourself, CEO of your life, walking in, doing the Virgo thing of being like, you know what's not working for me? This. Clay. It's not that it's a problem. It's not that it's a fucking crisis. You know, a really good CEO. The Emperor is like the benevolent, the good version of a patriarch, unless he has clarifying cards that say like, hey, you're being a bit of a fucking tyrant. That's not moldable. That's not clay. Now, the Emperor is basically after it's been fired in the kiln. We could say it like that. Like, these are the habits I think I need. And let me bake them into place and solidify them, but only after I've been clay and I've figured out this is what's working for me, this is what's not. Mercury retrograde. Now's the time to try things on. Now's the time to be like, I'm not committing to this thing, but I'll give it a shot. I'll try it on. We'll see. Do I like being in this shape? Do I like, nope, I don't. I'd rather be like that. Let yourself go with it. You know, CEOs don't get to be CEOs because they're rigid. They eventually might get rigid, like this is my, you know, the culture of my business or whatever. But that's ideally, and this is what they're saying for you, only after rigorous, like, personalizing. And then it's like, cool, this is what makes us great. This is what makes me a Queen of Wands. Bake that in. What habits do you want to bake into your life? What order and discipline do you want to bring to your life? It's a really good time to play with that. Mold your clay. Mold your clay and see how you like it. You've got the warmth. And honestly, life is kind of conspiring to alter the structure of your life. Death, the Tower. And we haven't even talked about it, but don't worry. I'm not going to ignore this. In the key position. Boop. There's the guy. There's the one. Look, can I just tell you, Virgo, that you're a fucking boss? You have 4 of what I would consider, and I think most tarot readers would consider to be the, like, scary cards. And they're major arcana too. It's not like 10 of Swords or 3 of Swords, which people don't like to see. It's like the Devil, Death, the Tower, and even the Moon, because the Moon is like uncertainty and instinct and transformation, and that shit is scary. That shit involves confronting our shadow. It involves taking off our blindfold and unstalemating ourselves at the cost of perhaps losing. Because some of us would rather stay in a stalemate than fucking lose. But an end is also a beginning. And we can stay in stalemate for ages and ages and ages. Better to be moldable. Better to be like clay. Better, and especially this is what they're saying, to allow yourself to change, Virgo. I want to make a distinction that it's like you don't need to violate your personal code. Don't change anything about yourself that is like, no, I love this about myself, or I love this about my life, or I want to keep this around. Cool. Keep it. If you love the base of what you've created of your sculpture, or you love this little detail or this design over here, keep it. What parts need adjusting? This doesn't have to be symmetrical. Maybe you're making an abstract piece of art. Make anything you want. Make a bowl, make a cup, make a fucking, like, horse. Shape it how you want to shape it. Keep what feels real and essential, because what is not real and what is not essential is sort of dropping away regardless, and they're asking you to lean into that and be like, whoa. Yesterday when I was making this, and this is so, I'm not a sculptor, I'm sure that's very clear to any of you who might be sculptors, but I was going to say, what they're showing me is like, wow, yesterday I created this very whole, organic looking thing, but then I felt this instinct and urge, and like I punched a hole in it, and now there's this piece of negative space, and I love that negative space right where it is. Like, that's exactly where I needed it, actually. Like, maybe I thought I slipped and punched a hole in it and went, oh shit, but then I was like, wait, this is cool, this says something. Allow that to be. Let's talk about this guy. Very much related to the clarifier, 2 of Swords. Don't hide from yourself. Stop hiding your fucking light under a bushel, Virgo. It doesn't make you better to pretend you're worse. Woo! Listen, sometimes we read the cards, sometimes the cards read you, and you're getting read a little bit by spirit. There's no playing small. No. No more. For what? For who? And that's like a real question. Is it your parents who were like, don't be loud, don't be weird, don't be creative, don't be spiritual, don't be not spiritual, whatever. Like, no judgment. Like, it's you. What is really you? What is authentic and what has been stamped out first by somebody else, and then you perpetuated that stamping out. No, no, no. I don't really want this. No, no, no. I'm not really like that. I'm not really like that. Maybe you fucking are, and maybe it's okay. Maybe you want a lot of money. Maybe you want a lot of sex with a lot of different people. Maybe whatever. Like, maybe you want something that society or your parents or, and again, like maybe you have internalized, but it's like not true. You've only internalized it and it's shaking apart and saying like, no, there's something that we want that maybe we haven't allowed ourselves to want. And maybe we have been setting ourselves on fire to keep other people warm, or minimizing or hiding our fire behind these giant ramparts and pretending it's not there. Well, fuck all that. Fuck all that. Time for a restructure. Boop. He was not reversed. Hierophant in your future. Wisdom. Class. School. Some of you might be literally going to school or taking like online classes to learn something new, to lean into your gifts perhaps, to build something new for yourself. Or maybe you're just thinking about the way you structure your own life and dramatically coming in like that CEO and being like, this sector's working great. This sector is like all right, but has room for improvement. This one sucks. We need to either take this out entirely or entirely like raise it to the ground and then restructure, rebuild. And don't be afraid of that. You are more than capable. You are strong, you are powerful, you're moldable, and you BYO kiln. So when you are ready, when you are feeling sufficiently fired up and sufficiently shaped, pop that shit in the kiln and you're gonna love what comes out. Don't hide your gifts. Don't hide your desires even from yourself. Even if they're like the ones I said earlier, and if they made you feel weird and guilty on the inside, just hearing the words like, I want money, or I want a lot of sex, or I want to be hot, or I want to whatever, things that might sound superficial or infinitely judgeable, fuck that. Fuck whoever judged you for it before. Fuck you for whoever might be trying to judge you for it now. Life is short. Too short to live in a box, too short to live in chains, too short to stalemate. What do you want? Go get it. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus said it. My boy, Stoic philosopher. Truer thing never said. Who cares? Fall down, scrape your knee, try it out, get it wrong. Reach for the castle, find out that it's sand. Cool, it's not this, so it's something else. What do I want to do now? Trust your instincts. Make some changes. It's a powerful month for you, Virgo. Tell me about it. Questions, comments, answers, solutions, please. If you've got stories, I'm sure they would help your fellow Virgoans, and of course, I love to hear them too. And if you have questions and I can maybe drop in and offer you some quick advice, I'm happy to do it. And if you ever want a personal reading, of course, all my info is also linked below. I really appreciate you being here, Virgo, and I really hope that this is helpful. It looks intense, but it looks energizing and authentic as fuck. So be your authentic self. That is what is serving you much better than trying to fit yourself into any mold that anybody could create for you. You're shining. Shine, Virgo. Love you. Thank you for being here. And if I don't see you in a video before then, I hope I see you in your December reading. Bye, Virgo.